بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and welcome back to another episode of Effective Communication. In this episode we'll talk about 10 secrets and maybe a bonus in the end about the great leaders in the world and how they are a great communicator. And if you noticed, if you paid attention to what I said great communicator, not a great talker. There is a major difference indeed. You know, when you go to school and you've acquired some of the grammar, the syntax, the enunciation, the how now, brown cow, the rain falls mainly on that plane, and all of that stuff, which is fantastic. However, it is nothing if you do not implement it on the road. However, if you're speaking to someone, please make sure that you don't speak to yourself, you're speaking to others. Even though you want your ideas to go across the world, make sure you speak to the people's hearts, minds, and souls. Whatever comes out from the heart goes to the heart. Even though you want to push your agenda, make sure you're speaking to their aspirations, to their emotions, and indeed to their goals and minds. So it doesn't have nothing to do with you. It has 100% to do with everyone else except you. So you will know in this episode, inshallah, some of the 10 secrets that we will talk about later on, and hopefully we can get you there to be the best communicator. Hopefully you'll get the message across in the proper way. So let's go down the line. Number one, please don't speak in a forked tongue. People can see through you, actually. If you say something and don't mean it, or actually tell people to do things and you don't do it yourself, or tell people not to do it and you do it yourself, people can see through you. So please make sure your integrity in line. People will not trust you or even give you the time of the day if they know that you're lying, you're not truthful, nor that they will actually forgive you. Believe it or not, statistics show that people will forgive a lot of things, and if they know that there's trust and build a reputation. But people will not forgive anything that they know that there is no trust there or people are lying. So the question is, what's your reputation like? What's your legacy? What will you leave behind? So number one on the list is making sure that you are truthful to yourself, hence truthful to others. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Walk the talk. Number two on the list is get personal, meaning stop giving orders and start talking communication, not an organizational chart. So you're not the commander-in-chief of the army. People don't come around and say, and so on. You need to actually talk about a dialogue, not a monologue. For example, you talk to people. You talk with them, not at them. You don't give them a command. You discuss issues with them. Make sure that you have something in your heart. Listen to the quote. People will not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So please, again, speak from the heart. Speak to the people. Be there for them. You're there for them, akhi and ukhti, whether you like it or not. In the path of da'wah, we have already dedicated our lives to Allah. Hayati kulluha lillah. My whole life is for Allah's sake. So please make sure it's not your personal goal, your personal agenda. Is you're there for the sake of Allah. You're there to help the people. So please understand this part. Remember, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using you for His da'wah, you have that responsibility. When you say hayati kulluha lillah, when you say that my whole life is for Allah subhanahu wa jalla fi'ula, mean it. So please speak in that essence. So when you speak it, speak to the heart, mind, and soul. Nothing personal in this matter, inshallah. So as you heard, number three was actually implementing a verse. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسْكِي وَمَحْيَاي وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say my prayers, my life, my death, my actions, and the rituals for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, is actually be specific. Be specific. What I mean by that, akhi and ukhti, is cut to the chase. Do not go around. Don't be ambiguous. Make sure your words count. What that means is, everything I say, it has an emphasis, has an oomph. has a weight behind it. Make it count. Make everything is there. And please use words that actually mean things to people, not any specifically or high academic means that means absolutely nothing to them, so they will understand you. So when you are being specific, cut to the chase when you make the words count, and that's your goal. Leave them with something that they take home with, and I'll talk about that another point inshallah a little bit later. It's a good segue for number 4. When you go in, go with the servant's heart. Make sure that you communicate the information to them and you learn from them. What I mean by that is don't go in there closing the eyes and soul thinking that you're going to teach people something. Also go in with an open mind to learn something. Leave behind something that would be helpful for them. So, for example, this poor slave of Allah, once we traveled, I care a lot about hooking people up, and I think I get something to do with that with the course that I teach around the world, matrimonial services. So you know what? I take a couple from the people. So I need a couple, married couple, perhaps they're well respected, well known in the community. The girls will go to the wife, and the brothers will go to the husband, and then you can communicate with them. And I got that information from others. So you learn. Please understand, when you go in open mind, not just to teach people, but also learn from them. So listen to them. As the Six Sigma says, ask the end user. So please make sure that you go in, not just accumulating, but implementing and leaving something behind that is beneficial for the community. So you're teaching and learning at the same time. So if you want to learn, teach. And you want to teach, learn. So number 5 is also a segue from number 4. When you have an open mind, look for those who actually oppose you. Please don't be intimidated and shut down or drown those who actually oppose you. Those who have a dissenting or effect that has a different opinion than yours, and take that as an opportunity of learning. As a matter of fact, you discuss these issues with them, maybe learn something. Remember Shafi'i rahmatullahi alayhi, he used to say the same thing. Allahumma majri haqq ala lisan akhi. Oh Allah, let the truth befall on the tongue of my brother. So your intention is not to drown that. This is a great level, and I can tell you, you're going to take your ability to the highest level possible when you learn from the people around you. So have an open mind, an open discussion with everything else that you learn from, as that including to your interpersonal skills, being a better communicator next time, inshallah. Now, number 6 is very simple. Shut up and listen. Very difficult for us, boys and girls, because we want to blah 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 all the time, and we're used to it. You're sitting on this side, the people are on the other side. You're giving a khutbah, people are listening, so it becomes the norm for you. But however, it takes a great leader and a communicator to actually listen. If you take out the earwax and listen for a bit, listen to your end audience, your target audience, at least you will know and learn a few things. So please make sure that you listen. So how do you do that? By actually nodding once in a while when somebody's talking to you. One of my professors actually said, body language we'll talk about, just lean forward and that in essence and nod with your head. Repeat something that they said. Let me understand what you said. You said 1, 2, 3. Is that correct? So if you confirm with them, they'll know that you're listening, and you're actually going back to make sure that you're listening to the proper thing by asking them questions and nodding once in a while. You know how we do it, brothers, to our wives. So once in a while, when you're watching the movie, man, or watching halal movie, yani khalas, or watching the game, when your wife comes in, you're watching everything else. So what you're doing, you go like this, right? And then your wife asks you a question. What did I say? You said, that's what you heard. That's not the right way to do it. So please make sure you listen to the end user and not repeat what they say to make sure that they understand that you are listening. So are you listening? Now going into number 7, it's very simple. Please replace your ego with empathy. Don't write checks that your talent cannot cash. So we're going to talk to people's heart and minds and soul again. So please make sure you understand. All you're trying to do, akhi, is feel for them. Be there with them. Be one of them. Be one of the boys or one of the girls. It's very simple indeed. So please, this discipline takes you a high notch when people actually turn anger into love. Turn a negative into a positive. I'm here for you. Remember that. You always speak to them in that way. So what do they say in the sales department? They say benefits and futures. Futures attract and benefits sell. futures. For example, this whatever it is that you're trying to sell has 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow! So how is that good? Because the benefits. This will do this for you, and that will do this for you, and so on. So if you're speaking to them, you're speaking on their behalf, what I can do for you, inshallah, as we're always there for people, not for ourselves. Of course, for the sake of Allah, ultimately, subhanahu wa jalla fi ula. Which takes us to number 8. Number 8 is simple. Read between the lines. As a leader and as a good communicator, you have to be able to read between the lines, pick up the vibes, look at the people's body language, look at if they're actually, you want to change something. So you always have to have a contingency plan, like a safety net. Your ability to change the subject on a dime is important. Maybe you came in with a certain khutbah, but all of a sudden times change, situation has changed, current issues have arisen. You always need to do this, but you cannot speak to them on something that's not important. It doesn't mean anything to me at this point. So please make sure that you can read between the lines, sense the people's emotions and what they feel and what they sense, and turn that into, again, a way that you can communicate with them for something that means something to them, that will be takeaways and leaving behind. So please make sure that you're that skillful on turning things around on a dime. So be prepared always with 2 khutbahs, not 1, and make sure that you're always aware of the current issues, specifically at the place and the time that you're going, and specifically the people you're going to address. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you that skill. It's extremely important, inshallah. And now for number 9. Know what you're talking about before you're talking about it. Very good. So you're going to do your homework. You're gonna do a dress rehearsal. Some of my teacher actually says speak to in the mirror, record yourself, and then listen to yourself and see how you like. Your body language, your speaking, your facial impressions, all that stuff. The subject matter in itself. You know what I do before I give the khutbah? I go right before it. I go back to the verses, the hadith, go back in a train of thoughts, have some kind of a game plan to address it, and it's perfect on that. And remember, fake it till you make it, and all that stuff is long gone. And you've heard the phrase, of course. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Yeah, it's all good and dandy, but can we concentrate on how and what at the same time? Please make sure that you have both under your command, inshallah. And finally, for number 10, I want to make sure that you understand this one, and we'll finish off with an example of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inshallah. So when you speak to a group, you speak to an individual. No matter if you're actually talking to 10 people or 10,000 people in a closed room in the greatest auditorium, doesn't matter. You still have to speak as if you speak into a camera's lens. You speak into an individual. Make sure that you speak into somebody that you're comfortable with. Doesn't matter what you do and where you are, but just make sure you have it personalized. So you pick 3 focal points. For example, you look into the center, you look to the right, you look to the left. So you're speaking as if you're speaking to an individual, inshallah, no matter how big it is. And we'll take that lead from the best. Who is the best? It can only be Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was known actually that his narration says when he's speaking to us, as if he's speaking to one at a time. Amazing, as if he's speaking to me individually. So give that time to individuals, inshallah. Look at them with a smiling face. Don't forget that, akhi and ukhti. And that's the clincher, inshallah. So be like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he is our uswa according to the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us walk in his footsteps till we meet him in Jannah. Ameen wa akhir da'wan. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallam ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi'een. جزاكم الله عنا خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.